Let's now make some final adjustments and conclude our working for the second shot. If I'll enlarge this window and move the playhead, in here you can see that with this sci-fi rover, we have these lights over here attached to it, and we also have some lights with this rover as well. We placed these lights in the previous lesson for the purpose of the night shot, but we don't want these lights to appear in our day shot, and at the same time we cannot delete them because we also need them for the night shot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go ahead and from the outliner open up the Minerva assets folder. I'm gonna scroll down, and if I'll select these 2 point lights from here and these 2 from here and open up the details panel, down here you can see that we have this option called as effects world. Now if I'll uncheck this box, it will completely disable the point lights. Now these lights are not going to appear in our renders or in our viewport. I'm going to do the same thing with the rectangular lights as well that we have behind these rovers. I'm going to select both of these rectangular lights, and let me just bring up the details panel, and I'm going to uncheck this box. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do in here is that in here you can see that the intensity of the spotlights that we have with the sci-fi rovers is perhaps a little bit too much for the day scene. They're fine for the night shot, but for the day shot, I don't really want these lights to be this intense. So I'm just going to select these lights first. Let me just disable game view. I'm going to select the slide, select the remaining lights from the outliner, and then let's decrease the intensity first. Let me enable the game mode, and let's decrease the intensity to, let's say, 100. Perhaps this is a little bit too much, maybe 50, 20, 25, 30, I don't know, maybe 25. Let's see. Yeah, I think 25 looks like a good number in here. Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing that I like to mention in here is that these adjustments are for the day shot only. If you want to render a night shot, then you're going to have to enable back these lights of these sci-fi rovers, and then you're going to have to increase the intensity of these spotlights as well. So the next thing that I'm going to do in here is, let me just scroll down. In here you can see that these spotlights are projecting some light on the surface as well. I don't really want that. I don't want this light to project on my surface, whether it's a day shot or a night shot. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decrease the attenuation radius. I'm going to just select this attenuation radius from here, and let's bring this down to, let's say, 500. 500 is not enough maybe. Let's try 250. Now you can see that we have a lot of improvement in here, but we still have a little bit of red spots on the surface. So I'm just going to bring this down to 200 maybe. We still have a little bit of light, I guess. Let's just move ahead on the sequencer. Yeah, we still have that. So I'm going to bring this down to 150, let's say. And I think, yeah, that's a lot of improvement. Yeah. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to adjust in here is the projection center of the HDRIs. I'm just going to disable the day lighting setup from here and enable the night scene from here. And I'm just going to select this HDRI backdrop. Let me just bring up this details panel here, and I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to split this window. And in here, the problem with this HDRI is that I just want to bring this HDRI a little bit higher. It still looks good, but we can always do one better. So I'm just going to bring my details panel here. And right now, I think it is set to negative 200,000. I'm just going to change this to, let's say, 20,000 in here. And in here, you can now see that we have these stars over here. If I'll press Ctrl Z, you can see that we don't have that much, bright spots in here. But if I'll just set this to negative 20,000, now you can see that we have a lot of good looking bright spots in here. But now we also have this weird looking background as well. If I'll just move the playhead, you can see that we have some weird background in here as well. So I'm just gonna bring this down to, I don't know, let's say negative 50,000. Nope. Negative 60,000. Let's try negative 70,000. I still see a little bit of a background in here. So I'm just going to bring this to negative 75,000, I guess. There's still a little bit here. So let's just type in negative 80,000. Yeah, now it looks a lot better. Let's see. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay. I also want to get rid of this shooting star as well. So I'm just gonna split this window, and where's the gizmo? There it is. I'm just gonna rotate this thing on Z. Let me just disable the rotation snapping. I'm just gonna rotate this thing on Z like so. Okay. It was looking good, but because it doesn't have any sort of movement, so that is why I just don't want it to appear in my shot. It is still there, but with this quick camera movement, it is not gonna be noticeable. So let's see how this thing looks like. I'm gonna just enlarge this window. And yeah, it looks good. Okay, we're gonna need to do the same thing with the HDRI for the path tracing as well. I'm just gonna copy this rotation value from here. I'll just remember the projection center. It is negative 80,000. I'm just gonna open up the path tracing lighting setup. Let me just disable this one from here. And I'm gonna enable path tracing in here and unhide the path tracing lighting setup. And let's just, come on, scroll down and select this HDRI. I'm gonna type in negative 80,000 in here. Okay, and let's just paste this rotation value in here. Oops, I think I mistakenly copied the value. Let's do it again. I'm just gonna select this HDRI backdrop from here, copy the rotation value again, and I'm just gonna paste that in here. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna save everything, and let's close these folders. I'm gonna disable the night scene for path tracing and enable for lumen. The next thing that I'm gonna do in here is to animate these spotlights that we have with these sci-fi hoverbikes. From the outliner, I'm gonna select these spotlights. I'm gonna select these three from here and these three from here. And for now, I'm gonna increase the intensity back to 200. Let's unlock this, and I'm gonna bring all of them to the sequencer. I'm gonna bring up this window, and I'm just gonna select these lighting components of these spotlights and delete them. We'll just animate and copy this component and paste them for the others as well. Let's move ahead on the sequencer. Let's say frame number 6. I'm just gonna move this thing down here. I don't know. Let's say let's try frame number 6. I'm just gonna add a keyframe on the intensity of light, and I'm gonna move the playhead to frame number 0, and I'm gonna change the intensity to 0. Okay, so now we have this very simple animation with the intensity of light. I'm gonna now select this light component and press Ctrl C on my keyboard. Let me just bring up this window, and now I'm gonna select all the spotlights and press Ctrl V on the keyboard to paste this animation. Now you can see that we have keyframes with all of these spotlights. Let's now move to frame number 0, and let's see how this thing actually looks like. I'm gonna bring down this window and play this animation. At frame number 0, these spotlights shouldn't be here. I can still see some sort of, red glare behind these sci-fi horror bikes. What's the problem in here? Let me just scroll down. Yeah, the intensity is 0 all the way through. I'm gonna save everything. I think it's just a technical glitch. Yeah, after saving everything, the problem is resolved. So let's now play this animation and see how this thing actually looks like. Oops. Let's try this thing again. Maybe, just maybe, I should, let me bring this thing up. I should select all these keyframes and, bring them to frame number 3. Let's now see how this thing looks like. Yeah, I think it looks a lot better. Yeah. The other thing that we can do is to add a little bit of delay with the spotlights of this hoverbike. I'm just going to select these spotlights. I'm not sure which one is which. I'm just going to disable game mode. Yeah, these are the spotlights. I'm just going to enable back the game mode, and let's move these tracks forward and place them here. Okay, at frame number 3. I'm gonna now bring down this window and let's see how this thing looks like. Let's try this again. Yeah, I think now it looks a lot better. So I'm just gonna save everything, and the next thing that I'm gonna do in here is to fractionally adjust the rail track. Let me just get closer to this thing. Okay, I'm just gonna disable the night scene from here and enable the daylighting setup. And I'm just gonna select this. Let me just lock the sequencer. I'm just gonna select this track, and I'm gonna select this point, move the view just about there. I'm gonna create a duplicate copy of this point by holding Control on my keyboard. And yeah, looks good. Let's move this thing fractionally. Remember, I'm in local x-axis. Let's play this thing. I'm gonna enlarge this window to have a better look. Let's play this thing. Perhaps I should move this thing a little bit on x-axis like so. Let's see how this thing looks like. Yeah, I think it looks good. Okay. Yeah. So that concludes our working on the second shot. If you have any sort of problem or any sort of confusion at all, please do reach out to me and feel free to ask. I'll try my very best to answer all the questions, clear up all the confusion. I can also create a separate video or a separate tutorial for you if there is a need for it. And then I'll add that video in the course so that others can benefit from it as well.